Hi there guys, it's Joel here from Aussie Chart Trends. Today's market update is for Tuesday the 25th of September 2012. Today we're going to check out the asx200 and we're going to take a brief look at the smp500. But before we do that, I've just got to remind everyone that aussiecharttrends.com.au and this video are for educational purposes only. Nothing stated at the site or in this video is intended to be used as any form of investment advice. I'm not a licensed professional. You need to make your own decisions regarding your investments. I'm here just to help anyone searching for a practical direction in today's markets. Okay, so looking at the long-term chart here of the asx200, this trend line that we were talking about in yesterday's video, going all the way back to 2007, we zoom the chart in on this area, this blue line here. Clearly we can see in today's market action, we back-tested this blue descending line. So this is our first area of real support that is now being challenged. And as you can see, the asx200 hit this descending blue line going all the way back to 2007, and we bounced right on it. So I think that that's quite amazing that the market actually found an area of support today. Let's take a look on the hourly chart. After breaking down from this rising wedge pattern, today we found a little bit of area of support here on this red line. As you can see, I just extended this line out today, and the market found a bounce on this area. But then we broke this area, found an intraday backtest, and then we started to head down again. So now that we've broken this little line, I don't know how technically significant it should be, but we can expect that this area here on this yellow line, if I just zoom the chart out a little bit, on the 25th of July we created a bottom down here, and also on this area here we actually had an area of support, and I would expect that the market should find this as an area of support. Now, in tomorrow's trade, if we come down and break this yellow line, expect that our next area of support would be down around this area here. Now, this area should put up an area of support, and I would say that we'd probably get a bounce around here. If this area was to break, watch out, because I think that the markets would then head down further, and there's not that much support underneath it. So it is wise at the moment just to keep your eye on this 4,260, 4,270 area. But I think tomorrow it'll be this rising level of support around the 4,360 area that should be putting up a fight. Looking on the 10-minute chart here, in yesterday's video we were discussing whether this top line would break, and that we were looking at a potential little inverted head and shoulders pattern. Or, I said in yesterday's video, if this line breaks, expect that the markets will move down. Now, we did get that move, and I think it's interesting that we had a gap down over here, a rather large one, and then we've sort of bottomed up, created this bear flag pattern defined by this yellow line here and this yellow line here. Now, after breaking this area, we've gapped down again. The move today was much smaller than yesterday's move, so it's worth keeping an eye on. There's nothing really here to state that we're in any form of channel at the moment, but I will be keeping my eye on the short-term moves that we do have. So let's take a look now at the smp500. Okay, with the smp500 here, the market action ever since we had this announcement come out from the Federal Reserve last week, Ben Bernanke's speech boosted the markets on up. As you can see, we have this sideways action now ever since the announcement of QE3. Now, to my eye, this looks like a symmetrical triangle pattern. Symmetrical triangle patterns usually have sideways action, and you can see that there's clearly two areas here of support on this bottom line, and on this top line we have a touch up here and a touch over here. We could be fairly much looking at a break to the upside or a break to the downside. How do you measure symmetrical triangle patterns? Well, if you measure the first reactive move to the upside, that this measurement, if the market was to break on up, could be heading up to around the 1490 area. If we break to the downside, the markets would take out these two areas here of support, and I would say that we would be heading down to this blue line to challenge this area here. Now, if this blue line was to break, we could expect that there may be some selling pressure. Why is that? Well, if we have a look on an extended chart, In the weekly review, I was actually discussing this rising wedge pattern, and that I had this area drawn up here previously over this area here like this. Now this looks like a parallel line to this line over here, and the markets may be heading on up in a rather large channel. The reason why I think that this may be a rising wedge pattern is because we actually have a lot more touches on this area. We have 3 clear touches of resistance after breaking over this rising wedge line Thursday week. When Ben Bernanke came out with his speech, we came down in a few trading days later and we back tested this blue line, but then we got back underneath it. So I think right now we could be looking at a break of this bottom channel line, and we may be coming back down to test this blue line here. And if this breaks, expect that we would then have an attack on this red line. And I would say that we would get a nice bounce on this red line here around the 1400 area. Why is that? Well, there is no current patterns in this market to say that the markets are going to head on up. The only thing that I can really see is a potential left shoulder, a potential head forming, and we may be creating a right shoulder. But that is far down the track, and I would say that we'd need to at least wait until October, early November to see this pattern play out, if it is a head and shoulders top. But that's why I do these daily updates, so that you guys can actually watch this in the process. And if we get the break to the upside, well, we're just going to have to keep our eye on a new pattern, because there's nothing currently in this market that is telling me that the smp500 should go up much further before pulling back. So something to keep your eye on. Just in brief, keep your eye on this yellow ascending line around the 4,360, 4,370 area. Like I said before, if this area breaks, we then should be looking for at least a 100-point move down, and then that would be probably an area where the markets would find a good area of support. So thanks very much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with another daily market update. If you're new to watching these videos, all I ask is that you click the subscribe button on YouTube. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.